Hey everyone, it's Byron the Dragon King here with a brand new video, and now you might be asking yourself, Byron, what is a jobber? Well, a jobber is defined by Urban Dictionary as a wrestler whose job it is to lose every match, which is true in the original meaning of the term, but in more modern times in the anime community as a whole, it's normally referring to a character whose role it is to hype up a new big bad threat or character to show how powerful they are. And in this new series, I'm going to look at characters from popular shonen anime and other series to try to find out who's the worst jobber. Now, I already have a few candidates in mind for this series, but I thought we should start off by covering the potential jobber everyone clowns on the most. That's right, we're going to start with the former desert bandit, the master of the Wolf Fang Fist, Yamcha, from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Now, most people just cite his death to a Cyberman as him straight up being a worthless meme character, but a lot of fans would be right in thinking this, since a lot of fans have never seen OG Dragon Ball. In their first real introduction to him in Z, he gets blown up. But for this video, we're going in chronological order and seeing his win-loss ratio and how bad of a beating he receives in each fight. So let's start with Dragon Ball's first arc and our introduction to the character. In Chapter 8 of Dragon Ball, Yamcha fights Goku to try to steal the gang's capsules. He lands the Wolf Fang Fist and seems to go even with Goku, even so much to be on the winning side. Granted, Goku is hungry at the time, so he's in a weaker state, but this isn't a bad showing for Yamcha's debut. I'll say that's an easy 1 win, 0 losses for Yamcha, though you could say it's a tie, but hey, I'm gonna give it to Yamcha. In Chapter 10, Yamcha comes back to fight again using an RPG to destroy Oolong's van and proceeds to fight Goku again, where Goku kicks out one of Yamcha's teeth. When he realizes he's lost his tooth, he proceeds to run off in shame. So it's an easy 1 win, 1 loss for Yamcha. In Chapter 17, Yamcha helps Goku beat Monster Carrot by beating some of his goons and rescuing Carrot Bulma. Yamcha's assistance was required for this victory against Monster Carrot, so I'm going to count it as a win for Yamcha. So we're now at 2 wins, 1 loss for Yamcha. In Chapter 22, Yamcha is able to stop Great Ape Goku's rampage by grabbing his tail while Porra shapeshifts into a pair of scissors to cut off the tail, thus turning Goku back into his kid form where he falls asleep immediately after. I think it's fair to say that's another win for Yamcha, so we're going to say that's 3 wins, 1 loss for Yamcha so far. So with the first arc of Dragon Ball done with, we can see that Yamcha has an impressive showing so far, being around Goku in strength while also being smarter and able to come up with some cunning plans. Now, we don't get any notable fights with Yamcha until the 21st World Tournament, where Yamcha is able to get past the preliminaries. This Yamcha has been training on his own leading up to the tournament. It's not too impressive Yamcha makes it to the final 8 considering his showing in the first arc, but in Chapter 37 he gets his first real fight in the World Tournament against Jackie Chun, who's actually Master Roshi in disguise. Now, it's fair to say before we get into this that Yamcha hasn't been trained by any masters or anyone, and for all we know of, has no real martial arts experience before this, and is kind of just relying on his brute strength in the Wolf Fang Fist. So it's not surprising Krillin and Goku have better showings and seem to improve more from the first arc leading into the World Tournament. Yamcha isn't able to land a single hit on Jackie Chung and is blown out of the ring by some sort of air blast by Jackie Chung. I think if Yamcha were to have been trained like Goku and Krillin by Master Roshi, he would have had a more impressive fight than we see in this, as we can look at Krillin, who is able to keep up with Master Roshi, and of course Goku, who's able to push Master Roshi to his limits. So it's now 3 wins and 2 losses for Yamcha. In Chapter 51, when Goku goes Great Ape again, Yamcha is confident that he could restrain Goku again despite Goku training and getting stronger, so his Great Ape form would be as well. You could argue this is just exploiting his tail's weakness, but I just found it interesting little tidbit to include. He didn't get the chance as Jackie goes full power and blows up the moon, though. And to further push how impressive this is, we know that Grandpa Gohan dies from Goku when he goes Great Ape, and this is a much weaker Goku who hasn't been trained by Master Roshi and is much younger. So you could argue that despite not being trained by Master Roshi, Yamcha is a bit more confident in his abilities to exploit Goku's weakness than Grandpa Gohan was, but we don't really see how Grandpa Gohan died, so for all we know, Goku transformed and killed Grandpa Gohan in his sleep, but we'll never know. We have to jump ahead to chapter 100 for Yamcha's next fight, where he has to fight the Invisible Man, who he is able to beat with the help of Master Roshi getting a bloody nose and revealing the Invisible Man's location. And even before that, Yamcha is able to land a couple blows on the Invisible Man, and only starts to struggle again due to Baba's interference. I'm going to give this one to Yamcha due to Roshi's blood more so just evening the playing field and not being like a handicap. So that's 4 wins and 2 losses for Yamcha. Next, starting in chapter 101, going into 102, Yamcha fights Bandages the Mummy, and gives a good fight, almost winning due to Bandages falling off into the poison of the Devil's Toilet. Bandages was able to use his bandages to return to safety, where he's able to avoid the poison, and then is able to beat Yamcha. I'd say it's a close loss, but a loss is still a loss, so I'm going to say that's 4 wins and 3 losses for Yamcha. Next, Yamcha is to fight Tien in chapter 117. This is after he spent the last 3 years training with Roshi, and he's shown being able to use the Kamehameha, and is the second student behind Goku to learn it, and is able to learn it before Krillin, who was training with Roshi for longer. Yamcha does lose, and has his leg broken by Tien, though, so that is another loss. So now we're at an even score of 4 wins and 4 losses for Yamcha. I haven't been using filler up till now to give Yamcha any extra W's, but this one is an iffy one. In the Demon King Piccolo arc in the anime, Yamcha is able to survive against Tambourine while his leg is broken, and in the manga he says he'll help fight Demon King Piccolo despite his injuries, showing his bravery. Not going to give him any points for this, just thought it was a neat little bonus to consider, considering Krillin was killed by Tambourine and Yamcha is able to, at least for in the anime, keep up with Tambourine while suffering from injuries. In chapter 174, Yamcha has to fight Shen, who is secretly Kami in disguise, and he has a pretty decent showing, and even lands a good hit with the Spirit Ball, which makes Kami get serious and one-shot Yamcha. Kami even mentions how Yamcha was able to wound him, but a loss is a loss, and Yamcha, for the first time all series, is at a negative win-loss ratio with 4 wins and 5 losses. Now we get into Dragon Ball Z. Now, people like to downplay Yamcha, but in the Saiyan Saga, he has a power level of 1480, just under that of Raditz at 1500, so you could argue he would be able to beat Raditz, making Yamcha, after training with Kami, stronger than Start of Z Goku, and stronger than the Goku who beat Piccolo Jr. Not bad, from weaker than Shen to stronger than Piccolo Jr. and Goku. And this is after just a year of training, after a 5-year time skip, where Yamcha was probably just dating girls and playing baseball. Now, you might be asking, why do I bring this up? Because people like to meme and downplay Yamcha. Due to this next fight, but he's actually quite strong, he just got a little too cocky. Yamcha takes on the second Cyberman, telling Krillin to be more careful since he had already died once and couldn't be brought back with the Dragon Balls. Yamcha and the Cyberman are going so quickly that Gohan can't see them at first and has to focus on sensing their ki to follow the fight. Yamcha beats the Cyberman with a Kamehameha wave, and he thinks he's done for, but the Cyberman catches Yamcha off guard and blows himself up. Now, people meme on Yamcha for this, but this is a very similar event to when Piccolo Jr. caught Goku off guard after the Meteor combination during the 23rd World Tournament. Even Nappa calls it a draw, and to show respect to Yamcha for winning the main fight, I'll count it as a tie. Since the Cyberman had to blow himself up in order to beat Yamcha, if Yamcha wasn't off guard, something Goku does all the time, he would have been fine. So we're looking at 4 wins, 5 losses, and a tie. Now, since we're skipping filler, we're skipping Yamcha fighting the Ginyu Force and surviving 300 times Earth's gravity. Even though Yamcha being shown up to fight Recoome is impressive, since that same Recoome did Vegeta dirty like 12 hours earlier. Really shows how impressive King Kai's training can be. Oh, we can also mention that Yamcha made it to King Kai's planet faster than Goku did. In chapter 338, Yamcha faces androids 19 and 20. It is important to note that android 19 thinks Yamcha is Goku based on his power level at first. Android 20 is able to sneak up on Yamcha due to not having any ki for Yamcha to sense, and, makes a donut out of him. So that's 4 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie. It does help Goku get back to his house to take his medicine for the heart virus, though. He even shows up at the Cell Games despite knowing he is outmatched, and is still willing to show up to provide any assistance he can in saving the world. Speaking of the Cell Games, yeah, the Cell Juniors. He survived, so that's something. So we're now looking at 4 wins, 7 losses, and a tie. I'm not going to count Super Buu in this video since he kind of just shits on everyone. Super Buu legit kills everyone on Earth and kills everyone on the lookout. And Yamcha wasn't an active fighter at the time and had given up training and didn't even participate in that world tournament, despite the fact he would have easily been able to qualify, given the fact we see normal humans who don't know about Ki being able to qualify, such as Videl and the other no-name people that I can't even remember the names of. I have not read the Super manga and won't be going into it, or GT for this video, but I don't remember Yamcha fighting in GT, so at the end of the day we're looking at 4 wins, 7 losses, and a tie, which as far as jobbers come, isn't too bad. There are jobbers I plan to cover in the future who have way worse ratios. So far, since he's the only jobber we've looked into, he's the worst by default, but I think there is a far worse jobber in Dragon Ball who, to my knowledge, has never won a single fight. I'll let you guys guess in the comments below who I might be referring to, and make sure to let me know of any other jobbers you think I should cover in the future and what series they come from. I've been Byron the Dragon King, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.